my mum wanted me to do ballet. Yeah.
Stop.
My mum wanted me to do ballet.
I actually said that just out of pure joke.
Yeah.
She actually wanted you to do ballet?
Yeah, she wanted me to do ballet, but the thing was, I was in school. You got a medal whenever you'd go home if you fell on the yard for the day. So I was coming home every day with this bloody medal. My parents were like, "What's going on? What's this medal he keeps winning?" So the teacher pulled my parents aside on a parent-teacher meeting and was like, "Look, Will's going home crying every day, and it's like, do you know, maybe we should get him into sports or something." And my dad was like, because I wasn't playing football, I was like, we'll get him into rugby first and we'll kind of throw him in there. So I don't know, was it kind of a winning mentality that I just wanted to always go home with a medal, or I was just soft underbelly?
Eimear, I suppose we'll start with you. We're in the middle of a Six Nations campaign. You know, it's not been the perfect start, but how was the build-up? We're in a new coach, a new era that everybody's talking about. How has that been for you, and what has that felt like for the squad?
It was really exciting this year, the fact there was such an emphasis put on the AIL ahead of the Six Nations campaign. So it meant that we got more game time than ever before with our clubs, and so from that he selected the squad for the Six Nations. So it was good coming into Six Nations having so much game time under our belts as a squad. Obviously the preparation was, you know, we only had 3 or 4 camps, so that wasn't a lot, but we had a lot of game time under our belt. Completely new style of play, completely new vibes, totally changed, and look, that's, I suppose, needed as well. If you keep doing the same things, you're going to get the same results, and I suppose a change was needed. And yeah, a lot of vibrancy, a lot of new players, a lot of old players still there. But it's look, the results haven't been there, but we've seen glimpses. We were just chatting about how it is exciting when we do get the ball, and if we can just do more of that in the next few games.
Yeah, and speak to me about some of those new players coming in. They're going to be having a lot of information thrown at them, a little bit overwhelmed. How do you, as a more experienced player, kind of guide them in camp and kind of help them down the right path?
I suppose just because we haven't seen them on the big stage doesn't mean that they haven't been playing, and I suppose the good thing about these girls is that they're playing way longer than I'm playing rugby, because they have been so lucky to grow up through an underage system. You have the likes of Avian coming through, who's played more rugby games probably in her life than I have. Aoife Wafer is another example. You know, they're so talented and they have oodles and oodles of talent coming through. It's just great that they now get to put that on the big stage finally.
And it is, Will, it's great to see. Obviously with men's rugby, a lot of them have been playing from underage, but in women's rugby that historically hasn't been the case, and to see the likes of Aoife Wafer and them come through, and Avian Riley has been brilliant. But we've had 3 games as Six Nations so far, some unbelievable pieces of skill. But who's impressed you from the Ireland team?
We were just talking before about Eva. I think she's really taken this Six Nations in her stride. I love how she kind of takes on the line. She's got that bit about her, and it was you see her going over for the try over the weekend. She's got a smile on her face, and I've seen her kind of through the 7 system and everything, and she's just come onto the world stage and she's just hit the ground running. So it's great to see.
Will, are you a silky back row or a forward player like someone like Sam Monaghan? I think she was given the nickname Sammy Bill Williams, I think, after her offload in the Wales game. Can you do that?
No, I wish I could do that. It's such a, I think you just have that. I think it's really hard to coach into a player, and it's just like you said, to have that in your team. It's just that bit of X factor. That's going forward, that's going to be the difference in a game, and it's great to have a player of that caliber in the squad.
How old were you when you actually started playing rugby?
I'd say it was 5 or 6. So it was actually a funny story. My mum wanted me to do ballet. Yeah.
Stop.
My mum wanted me to do ballet.
I actually said that just out of pure joke.
Yeah.
She actually wanted you to do ballet?
Yeah, she wanted me to do ballet, but the thing was, I was in school. You got a medal whenever you'd go home if you fell on the yard for the day. So I was coming home every day with this bloody medal. My parents were like, "What's going on? What's this medal he keeps winning?" So the teacher pulled my parents aside on a parent-teacher meeting and was like, "Look, Will's going home crying every day, and it's like, maybe we should get him into sports or something." And my dad was like, because I wasn't playing football, I was like, we'll get him into rugby first and we'll kind of throw him in there. So I don't know, was it kind of a winning mentality that I just wanted to always go home and medal, or I was just soft underbelly?
So your mum wanted you to get into ballet.
Ballet.
You were falling down every day at in school, so you didn't really have that poison grace. Yeah. And so your dad said, here's an idea, we'll throw you into rugby.
Yeah.
Well, not a bad idea.
But then if
back.
I had the old nimble feet from the ballet, I could have been able to stay on my feet. So look.
You might give us a few twirls there later and we'll see if you're up to the task.
Yeah, there was definitely no ballet in my story anyway. Completely different. I started rugby when I was 23. So it came from, I suppose, a long career of Gaelic football and camogie, playing for Clare. Moved up to Dublin and got a call, I suppose, around the time they were trying to scout people, players like yourself, I suppose, to come play rugby who had come from other backgrounds, just to make a chance and try and qualify for that 2016 Olympics. The player pool was really small at the time, so came through that way and was kind of taught every individual skill in isolation with 4 or 5 of us in a small group. And I suppose you won't forget either that trip we had to San Diego, where it was my very first rugby trip. I'd never tackled anyone, and Stacey Flood and myself were on the bed in that hotel, and she was like, this is how you tackle. Like, I'd only done tackle pads, done things in isolation, but never actually played a full contact game. And we went up against the USA, Canada. Like, I actually would cringe when I looked back at the footage of those games. But look, thrown in the deep end, you either sink or you swim. I definitely sank that day, but I'm still here anyway. But it was, yeah, I suppose, unorthodox the way I started playing rugby. And when you chat to, like, I actually was chatting to Aoife Wafer the other day, and she calculated that she's actually playing rugby longer than I am, even though she's only 18 or 19, whereas I'm 30 and have all these years on my belt, but she still is playing longer than me. So I suppose the next generation of girls are coming up and they're getting to play rugby from the ground up like you did. But yeah, unorthodox. Played a bit of sevens for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then went into 15s. Again, hadn't an idea of 15s, hadn't played that game. Had played more games with Munster than I had with my club, and then went into an Irish squad in the World Cup year, thankfully, and had that really great experience playing in the World Cup.
It's mad even just to hear the differences. Like, you started at 5 or 6 and you didn't start till 23. Like, how would you feel if you were told at 23 you're going to pick up rugby for the first time?
Like, it's so impressive though, but like, you know, like you said, to learn all those skills just from scratch, and like, it'd be great to now see the clips from over the American
I'd actually
see if we can pull
try and
one
find them up on Huddle somewhere.
But like, you've had such a great career and stuff, like, and that's the thing, it's to have picked it up from at such a late stage, like, it's incredible, really.
And I still think that, like, coaches probably take for granted that we know things, when you're like, no, I'm 25 caps for my country, but I haven't even played 25 games for my club.
My story is very, very similar to yours in that I didn't start playing rugby until I was 23, and I went into the sevens program, and from there got capped with 15s. But I actually started a 15s international game with Ireland before I started a club game with Old Belvedere, senior first team game. Like, and it's absolutely incredible to think of that. Like, that would never happen in the men's game.
And Bevan would have been similar when she was 16. You know, she wasn't. I think
she had to get special permission to get her
first cap. She wasn't allowed to play for Connacht because that was a senior competition. But yet she was allowed to play international. So she'd played club underage and had to make the jump up and play. She wasn't allowed to play senior club even at the time. She was playing at an underage club. So it's just, I suppose, the next generation are just so lucky that they're getting to do that.
That's the exciting thing, I think, when you look at, like, you look down in Cork and stuff, the amount of young girls there, and like, they're going to be taking up the game, and like, to have that much exposure to it, like you said, for you to only have picked it up at such a late point and still have gone on to have such a great career. Like, some of these girls coming through who will have so much experience under their belt from an underage system is incredibly exciting.
Tell us about your first cap.
My first cap, so it was during COVID, so there was no fans or anything, that was disappointing. But to be honest, when you're doing your first cap, you don't even, that's all just on the side. I remember going out for the anthems, and it was only really then when it kind of hit home that I was playing for Ireland. I was like, oh my god. like singing that were on the Veen, like the nerves, everything. I was like, this is
Were you just as
honestly-
nervous even though like there was no crowd? Because sometimes you forget that you're on live TV then when there's no crowd.
I was sick to the belly. I was like, oh my god, I just need this to start. But it only really hit there, like between the anthems and then is only really when those nerves hit me. I was like, oh my god, what am I doing here? But it was such crack, and then like even after just going in, singing away.
What was your song?
What did I sing again?
Come on, one of the biggest moments of your career, and you can't remember what your first cap song was.
I've just absolutely blown on the name of it.
I think give us a tune.
Now I've blown on the tune of it. I'm like, oh my god. I've
Eimear, what was
absolutely
yours?
froze.
I did the Music Man. Do you know it's like a sing-along one where you like, I
Yeah.
am the Music Man.
Yeah,
And then
Aoife's
you just keep
song,
going with it.
Aoife's song in front of all the girls, like out on the pitch is like.
I
that's
actually really
so
like
cool,
that, yeah, because normally, like I actually didn't get my first cap till later on that evening. I played Italy away, and there was 5 or 6 of us. Sene,
Italy away,
and
which year?
2015, the year we won the Six Nations. I sang the cup song actually because Pitch Perfect was out, so I sang that.
Grace is what I sang. I know every word of it, and I couldn't think of Grace or the phrase. When you were like the tune, I was like, "What is the tune?"
What did you do? Oh, Grace.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's my go-to. I always
that's
sing
it.
it.
Nice one.
Do you have a go-to? Like, do you have a karaoke
No,
song?
I don't. And I was just thinking I need to get something like that. Just
Just to kind of.
Yeah, I don't know the words to anything. I know like
Really.
a verse maybe, and that's it of things.
Yeah.
The lovely Rosa Clare, you know, Shirley.
Surely.
Yeah,
you
I do
have
know that one actually. It's
Sure,
very
give
nice.
us a verse.
But no one else knows that.
Yeah.
So nobody can join in.
Nobody
and the
can
idea
join
of a
in.
first cap song is that you sing a line
Yeah.
and then everyone else joins in.
I
So-
do think that it is a tricky one. People always have a song they'd love to sing,
Yeah.
but they're really afraid that nobody will join in, and
Yeah.
then they're left looking like a tool. But
I'm surprised Party in the USA, everybody knew it.
Yeah.
yeah, but there's a lot of younger kids in there. and
Yeah, if I just know Party in the USA, and then whatever, and that'd be me done, and then everyone would be singing away.
yeah.
I know we're loving a bit of not 90s, but it's definitely noughties
No,
music.
it's not
Yeah.
newer,
No.
recent pop and stuff like that. But even just looking at sevens rugby, we all went through the international sevens pathway. In the men's game, we're seeing the fruits of it, like yourself, Hugo Keenan, Shane Daly down in Munster, Robert Balakoon is doing phenomenal work up in Ulster. Like, how was sevens like for your career? How did that help you develop as a player?
Yeah, I had a bit of a weird patch with the sevens because I'm obviously not quick and stuff like Hugo and Jimmy, so I think initially I didn't take too well to it. I was only able to kind of really go up for high balls and stuff off kickoffs, and then I'd stand on the edge and probably miss around 10 tackles, so confidence was knocked right down. But like once I kind of got into it, it was it's just such a free-flowing game, and I remember I was told that like in 7 minutes in a half, the amount of exposures you get to things like poaching, you know, tackling, all these different things that in a game of 15s you don't get that kind of exposure as often. So like as a way to kind of progress all these kind of skills, I thought it was great for that, and it was enjoyable. I had some great trips out of it, and the lads were great crack. And you know what, at the time I was kind of in Leinster, I was in the academy, wasn't really playing, like you're kind of holding pads and stuff, and to go off on these sevens tours, and it just sparks a love of the game again. You really enjoy it. It's all the crack with the lads, and it was a great experience.
Yeah, like there's been so many amazing trips, hasn't there? I suppose my first World Series was in Dubai, and that Dubai Sevens is such a carnival atmosphere. It opened up my eyes to like how fun rugby can be, and I suppose it's the festival that is Sevens rugby. Sydney was pretty cool to get over there. All over,
Yeah,
like
I'm
all
very
over the
jealous.
world. Like
Where would you say where's rugby taken you that you've been like?
Well,
this is class.
I'd never been to America, so I got over there through sevens, and then we went to South America as well. So we got Chile, Uruguay, and then Hong Kong as well. So, but I would love to see,
Hong Kong is a special tournament though in sevens. Dubai is pretty similar in that it's a huge kind of festival. It's not just about the rugby. They've so much going on, but like it's definitely a party atmosphere, and one I try to encourage other people to go
I
back to.
100% would love to get a group and go over, just even for the invitational sevens, or even just to watch, just because there is so much. There's obviously the main pitch, but then going on behind the scenes are everyone else playing rugby for fun, of all, I suppose, ages and sizes, and everyone and different categories, with the elite and with whatever the lads that are just over there for the crack. But I'd love to go back over to Dubai, even just to watch, just to experience it again.
I think for festival terms, Dubai Sevens is the best kind of atmosphere for it. In terms of location and everything else, it's just all encompassing.
I think we should do maybe a media gig out to Dubai.
What do you
maybe,
think?
Yeah, go get us all out. I think so. I think it's a great one.
Yeah.
Her Sports Six Nations Show in association with Opal.